The Shepnaz podcast begins now.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Shepnaz podcast, and it is everybody's favorite day of the week.
Worship Wednesday.
Come on, baby. Come on. I never get tired of hitting that beautiful button. Never gets tired. Well, hey, welcome to Worship Wednesday. We are so glad that you joined us. If you don't know who I am yet, I am Pastor Zack, and I am blessed and honored to be your host today. And I am even more blessed and honored to have my guest here, the one and only, my man, my friend, my brother, Travis Morgan. Let's welcome him in, folks. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, I am so excited to have this conversation because I'm just looking forward to it. Like, we were literally joking around before this started, but we were just talking, kind of prefacing the podcast, and like, it was already getting good and we didn't hit record yet. So I'm stoked for this conversation. I'm stoked. Well, welcome in, buddy. I'm so stoked that you're here with us. But why don't you kind of tell everybody, because I know what you do here, but I would love to hear from you, and the people would love to know, who are you? What do you do around here, man?
My name is Travis. I get that question a lot. People say, what do you do around here? And I give them the same answer every single time. It's whatever they let me. I just love being here. I love being here. I love being in the church, Father's house. Like, I just feel so at peace here. And anything that I'm allowed to do here, I enjoy doing. So definitely part of the future church team with Will Mancini. And I do worship, and I'm also on the tech team, and just helping out as much as I can whenever I can.
Heck yeah, dude. Well, we are blessed to have you. I know that. Again, it's a little selfish for me because I get to kind of pick who comes on, right? And so to have my friends, and I get the honor of worshiping with you often. And I just love having you on the team, dude.
Thanks.
And one of the reasons I wanted to bring you on is because I love your heart. And I love your story, and I love that, like what you said, whatever they let me do, like that's not an answer we get often or people hear often, right? It's like, a lot of times like, well, I'm the guy in charge of doing this, or they asked me to do this. And it's like, it's such an honor to be a part of God's church,
Absolutely.
And it's one thing to hear stories from people who, like me, who we're on staff here, right? But you are just a faithful volunteer. And so just what do you do outside? Like, ministry is not your job, right? You're not vocation. Vocation.
Yeah, vocation.
So what do you do? 9 to 5. What's your normal week look like?
So that contains a lot of things as well. So I work at Big Sandy Superstore. We're employee owned. I've worked there for almost 10 years now.
Nice.
I've also created a software development company. Big Sandy does use it, and they're one of my first clients, which is really exciting. With this AI boom, I kind of wanted to get in front of that. So here we are. I'm a father, I'm a husband, brother, and I stay pretty busy with all of that.
Yeah. Take out church in general, and you're a busy guy. Yeah. Coming from a father, we have my daughter and your son are very similar age. So we're in kind of that world.
Absolutely.
So I will say, I don't envy you for having a son.
Oh yeah.
Because there's something different about boys and girls.
Yeah.
Lark is emotional,
right?
But your boy, he's just a boy.
So I deal with all the crazy stuff now.
Right.
At a young age. Your daughters, you know what I mean? They get a little bit older. You're going to be maybe dealing with some crazies then.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
We're starting to see little glimpses of the teenage sass coming out, and pray for us.
Absolutely.
Just pray for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, that's amazing, dude. But one of the things I wanted to ask, so you play guitar on our worship team, and I want to know from your perspective, what made you want to be on the worship team?
So getting up on stage and playing in front of a people is not something I want to do.
Right.
But I don't know. I always feel like God's calling on me, And this was a while back. Do you remember when Shelly left? And I always remembered seeing her be up on stage playing guitar.
Right.
So when she left, my brain just kind of went oh, they might need somebody. I feel like you were playing a lot. And that's when I reached out to you, and I was like, hey, I'll help if you need me to, fingers crossed. I would have been okay with you saying no. It's not something I was super ambitious about, because getting in front of a bunch of people and playing on stage is makes me very, very, very nervous.
Right.
And I have lots of stage fright. But once again, like I just want to do whatever I can to further God's kingdom.
Right.
And if our church is hurting and they need somebody to step in here or there, like I'm always willing to make myself uncomfortable
Right.
to make sure that, you know, we're doing our best here at the church for anybody that's coming.
That's awesome, dude. And I know, so that brings up a really interesting point that I think most people don't realize. And funny enough, like I have a bit of that still to this day of like, not everybody that gets up on the platform on Sunday morning loves being in front of people. Right. Most of the time they don't.
Yep.
There's quite a few people that like, it's a natural thing. And like most of the time now I'm used to it. Sure. Right. I don't think I'm over it, right. But I'm used to it.
Yeah.
But there are still some Sundays that I have to take a couple deep breaths before we walk out there. Cause I'm like, I am not ready for this.
Do you remember one of my first Sundays where I'll stand there back of the stage and I was like, does anybody else feel like they're about to throw up right now?
I do remember that. I do remember that. But what I love is like, again, that just shows your heart because it's like you're putting the Lord's will on your life above your comfort zone. Yeah. Which most people don't do. Yeah. You know, like we often serve or we often jump into things based on our comfort level. Yep. But really if we, you know, you look at the Bible and you look at how many stories in the Bible where God asked people to do something that wasn't their thing. Yeah. You know, like Moses, he's like, go talk to Pharaoh. He's like, I have a literal stutter. Right. Like I stink at talking. Like I probably shouldn't go. And God's like, but I want you to. Absolutely. You know, like, you know, David, like out of this, he's got to fight a giant, so like this warrior, and it's like, let's put a little boy out there. Yep. And he did it, and he won. You know, 100%. Like it's so many times when God calls us to do something, I feel like how do I want to say this? It's not that he purposely always calls us out of our comfort zone, right? But I feel like so many times God, like, I don't know if tests is the word, but like challenges us to be like, how much do you trust me? Right. You know, he's like, you might not like being on a stage in front of people, but I've gifted you with the ability to play guitar. Absolutely. Like, so can you do it? Yeah. Will you do it? Right. You know, and you did, man. Sure. And I'll say, like, for me, it's been awesome to see you grow in that. Cause like from the first day where you're like, I'm going to barf. To now it's like, you just get up there and do it, man.
Well, the reason why like I do it with no hesitation now is like one thing you've told me that's just stuck with me ever since is like, we don't necessarily get up on stage to play for people. Right. You know what I mean? Like we don't, you know, get here at 6 o'clock in the morning and tune our guitars and practice. So like these people, you know, are put on a good show, you know, like we are literally there together worshiping God and we're doing our thing to worship God, and they also get to benefit from us worshiping God. Right. So it just kind of works out for everyone. You know?
Exactly, man. That is something that, you know, the Lord has worked on me over the years. Cause like I've shared this before, there was a season early on in my ministry where I was working at a really big church, and like, there was some kind of like cool guy status for like, oh, you work at that church. Like you get to lead worship in front of those people. Like, that's a big deal. And like, I remember with the gut check moment of just like, dude, this has nothing to do with you or these people. Right. Like you're leading these people by worshiping me. Sure. Like it has nothing to do impressing them. Right. Like, there's because what I have learned, and this is a good lesson for everybody listening, is anytime you do anything for the Lord, there's always going to be people who hate what you're doing. Sure. Always. Like it's almost comical as a worship pastor, like how many times I have heard over the past 12 years of like, you don't know what you're doing. You know, those songs were terrible. Or, oh my gosh, how could you even think? Yeah. And every time I'm just like, well, I'm sorry you didn't like worship. It wasn't for you. Right. It was for the Lord. Yeah. So if you didn't want to join me in on that, I'm sorry. Absolutely. Like, no offense. Sorry, I'm stepping on some toes here, but like, so I love that about you, dude. I love it. Thanks. Well, I really want to hear your story, right? I know we had talked a little bit about this, and I want to remind you, like, this isn't a air out your dirty laundry podcast where I'm forcing you to say things you don't want to say, right? Sure. But what I do know is your story's so powerful, dude. Yeah. And even watching, like, I remember when you started coming to the church and like watching that transformation happen in your life to where you're at now. Yeah. You literally physically carry yourself different too. And so share what you're comfortable with. Yeah. Share what you're comfortable with. But I know that your testimony is powerful, and your testimony is not specifically just for you, right?
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people out there that could benefit from whatever you feel comfortable sharing. So take it away, my brother.
All right. I don't know where to begin.
As early as you want. I was born in
1992.
Right.
Yeah. So, at a young age, I would say there was definitely some Jesus in my life, right?
Okay.
My mom didn't really quite have the relationship that she probably should have had. So I remember learning a lot from my Uncle Mark. And he would take us to this old, small time church.
Yeah.
TVs were bad, women wear dresses,
Yep.
And I remember him yelling at me one time. I can't remember what song I was singing, but I was singing it at the top of my lungs. You know what I mean? And he's like, you're yelling like we should be singing, you know? So that's definitely like, I've got a little bit of, Jesus, Christianity and my younger ages, but I would say 12, 13, that's probably when things started to get off the rail. I did what I wanted when I wanted. I don't want to put all the blame on anybody in particular. I own it. But to give an example, I was 12. My next sister would have been 5, and then 2 and 1.
Oh wow!
So like. My mom worked a full-time job, 12-hour days. So basically the way it worked is she made good money. She would come, I would babysit my sisters, either picked them up from school, in the school time. In the summer, had them all day, 12-hour days.
Wow.
She'd come home, give me $20-$30, and I was free to go do whatever I wanted. You know what I mean? Because I took care of my sisters and made sure they were fed. I made sure they were taken care of. So she kind of gave me too much freedom.
Right.
Right. And I don't know. It might sound crazy, but I just feel like God was still always there.
100%.
There was so many times when I'm hanging out with the boys, and they're like, "Let's go down the street and do this." I'm like, "No, I'm good."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
It's just like I still always had the instinct in me, to know what's good and what's wrong. You know.
Right.
But to once again, just be honest, there was a time that came where I don't know the correct word I'm looking for.
You're good.
I'm so sorry.
You're fine, man.
Selflessness. He's gonna ask this, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It's all good. You're fine.
I'm so sorry.
You're good, dude.
All right. Anyways, yeah. So worthless.
Yeah.
To feel worth.
Yeah.
To feel. To have worth. To feel worth. Not worthless. Opposite of worthless.
Yeah.
Like you just go down. You can go down rabbit holes. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I felt like maybe I wasn't loved, or I just didn't have any direction. I didn't have any guidance, and that's when I kind of went off the deep end.
Right.
And yep.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to give any detail, bro. You don't have to give any detail. Yeah. You're fine.
I went off the deep end, and I'm just so thankful, and so thankful that Jesus stepped back into my life. Pastor Mark Bird is his name. If anybody's familiar with the First Heavy Metal Church of Christ, out of Dayton and Greenville. Nice. Yeah, we lived in Ansonia at the time, and Mom said, "Hey, we're going to church." Said, "Okay," and it's just a godly man. Rob's presence. When Rob preaches, and he's just Rob and Mark are very similar men.
That's cool.
And so I think that's maybe why I probably enjoys Rob's company so much as well. But yeah, anyways, got baptized in a river.
Sick.
Yeah, Mark Bird, Molly, she got baptized as well, my wife.
Cool.
And all my family did. And that's when things started to change, started to look up. Still didn't have it all together. Still don't now.
None of us do, brother. It's all good. Yeah. You're in good company.
Yeah. But so we ended up Trevor, Molly we had Trevor, and my boy, and we moved to Columbus, and we put Trevor in Shepherd Christian Church, and I would drive here Monday through Friday and drop him off and go home, and on Sundays we would do whatever we wanted, and we wouldn't come to church, and there's something started weighing on me. I drive to that church 5 times a week, 10 times a week, pick them up, drop them off, and we don't go to church there, and I started coming. I said, Molly, we got baptized, we want to give our lives to Christ. The least he gave his life for us, the least we could do is show up for an hour once a week on a Sunday,
Right.
And I started coming, and I just wanted to get more involved, but I didn't know how. And then there was one day I came by myself. I think Molly was visiting her mom back in Findlay, and you preached about how you were at a bar, I believe, and there was a woman. She heard you were a pastor, and you said, she said, I need you to call my son, and I want you to pray for him. And I am in the back just sobbing, like just tears falling down my face, you know? Yeah. And I don't know what it was. There was just like this feeling in me, like I need to do more to be where I once was to where I am now. I feel so eternally blessed. I can't even begin to describe it. And I just want to help other people that were once in my shoes get to where I am now. Not that saying, you know, where I'm at is all fantastic and amazing, but to have a father, a God that I can lean on, you know, when times get rough, like I just lean on him, you know, like I know that it's all going to be okay, you know, like as simple as that.
Right.
And then too, like I was just sobbing so much. Joe came and he said, can I pray for you? What's going on?
I love it.
I said, yes, please. I was sitting there sobbing and crying. And he's like, what's going on? And I was like, I just need to do more, man. I need to do more with my life. I can't just sit idly by and just let other people not experience what I've experienced.
Right.
You know, so then ever since then, I've just been sprinting at God full speed as much as I can. We all get a little distracted from time to time,
yes,
you know?
we do. Yes, we do.
But yeah, just being at the church and doing as much as I can is fulfillment. I get a lot of enjoyment out of that.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. I love it. And you know, one thing I love about your story is like having that moment of like, I can do more. And what I love that you said, like you keep hinting at it. One, you're a really good dude. I want you to know that.
Thank you.
None of us are perfect, but that's what I love about the God that we serve. Is like, he's not asking for perfection. He's asking for obedience.
Sure.
And he doesn't leave us alone to do it. Like, and I think we both experienced that. It's
Absolutely.
like, we have come to the point in ourselves is like, we know we can't do it on our own. We've tried and we failed.
Absolutely.
But going back to what you were saying, like even when you were younger, you know, this idea of, you know, in the Church of Nazarene, and I'm sure in other churches too, but like we call it prevenient grace, where it's like this God that we might not even know or have a relationship with yet is still working on us. He's still there protecting us and leading us and guiding us. And that's something I love. And I connect with you very well on. Like we were kind of joking, you know, before this podcast started. And I think back to how many times in my life that like, I should have been in jail. Like I should have been dead, or like I probably, you know, was driving when I shouldn't have been driving and could have killed somebody, you know, like all those things. And the Lord has had his hand on it.
Absolutely.
And in the moment, you know, when you're not thinking about it, you don't know who Jesus is. It's like, oh, I was lucky.
Yeah.
And now looking back, and it's like, there's no way that's luck.
No way.
Like there's no such thing as that much luck.
No way.
Yep. But yeah, the fact that you know, so that sermon I was talking about was, you know, just allowing the Lord to use you wherever you're at. And so this is something that I've seen you do in your life. And I had a season where, you know, when I was going through that transition at my first church of like, you know, God, I just want to be all in for you. Like this means nothing about me. And so I started asking like every day, like, God, use me today, like put somebody in my path today.
Yep.
And that particular one was, I was asked to play drums for a cover band at this, like, it was at a dive bar Halloween party. And super long story short, a bunch of things happened to where it was like, I knew that God wanted me to go do this thing. And I'm like, I don't understand because why would God want a pastor to go play drums at a bar? Didn't make sense. But when I went, super long story short, we ended up having a prayer service in the parking lot and saw so many people like literally get healed. We saw people coming to know Jesus. I called a dude in California who was ready to go to rehab. Like all these things started happening just because I said, God, use me however you want to. And what I love about your whole story, and would love to know a little bit more before we wrap it up. I love how many times you've come to us and shared how many people, like even just through your job, like have noticed your Bible sitting on your desk, or like I've heard you say one little thing and like opens up these conversations. So like, if you have a story or two that you want to share, because I love hearing when you bring these stories. So
I'll give you 2.
please do.
So
would love it.
All right. So at work, I have a Bible sitting on my desk, and I use it as an excuse to talk to people. Is that your God, or is that your Bible?
Yeah.
And I got little Jesuses too. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
So I love getting the conversation started with people, because you never know where they're going to end.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah. And then 2, I also love. There's so many times it's crazy, but like we end up finding out like they end up knowing Rob.
Oh yeah,
Which is really funny. So a lot of conversations end that way, which is really good. But
yeah, that's awesome. So one of the things we always say on this podcast, and I want to commend you for, is like, worship is so much more than the music on Sunday.
Absolutely.
It's literally a lifestyle that we choose to live, and you do that, bro. Like you literally hearing you say something, and it sounds, maybe for some people it's not simple. To me, it seems simple. Where it's like setting a Bible on your desk, having a little baby Jesus, you know, like sitting on your desk, and how something that simple can spark that conversation.
Right.
And so when we talk about like what it means to live a life of worship, right? You know, don't overcomplicate it. You know, we suck at overcomplicating things. Like
Absolutely.
we just do. And I think the gospel it's so tremendous and it's so expansive, but at the end of the day, it is very simple. You know, there's one Jesus, there's one God, that Jesus loves us no matter how screwed up we are, and he still died for our sins, knowing that we may not say yes to him, and he still did it anyway.
Right.
And so to do something as simple as like, I'm ready to have a conversation, so I'm going to put a Bible out and just know that when God opens that door, I'm going to walk through it.
Come on.
So that's awesome, dude.
Yep.
Well, Trav, thanks so much for joining us today,
pleasure.
dude.
Thanks for having
Love
me.
your story. Love having you on our team. Love your heart, man. So thank you for being a part of Shepherd, dude.
Appreciate that.
We love you, man.
Thanks.
Well, hey, to me, this is a really awesome opportunity to where you might be asking yourself that question. Maybe you're in that moment that Travis was in, sitting in the back of the sanctuary saying, God, I'm ready to do more. Like, I want to do more, whatever that looks like. That might look different for every single person listening. But my encouragement for everybody listening today is take that next step. That's what I love about our mission statement here. We're here to help people take their next step.
Let's do it.
So take your next step, and we'd love to help you do that. So if you have questions about that, reach out to us at podcast@shepnaz.org, and we can't wait to talk to you again. Have a great day.
This podcast is a production of the Shepherd Church of the Nazarene, Gahanna, Ohio. Email to podcast@shepnaz.org and let us know what you think.